And now, please stand, keeping the aisles clear, and welcome the graduating class of 2016.
Please be seated. What a wonderful day for commencement. Good afternoon. My name is Carl Fiebelkorn. I'm Senior Associate Dean of Student Professional and Community Affairs. We welcome you to the School of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Science 170th Divisional Commencement. Dr. Philip Glick, Mace Bearer, Chair of the University Faculty Senate, Professor of Surgery and Management, will officially open the ceremony. Dr. Glick.
Dean Kane. Thank you, Dean Kane, Dean O'Donnell, and the entire platform party. The graduates, the candidates for degrees, the faculty, the staff, the parents, families, and friends of the graduates and candidates are now assembled. I hereby now declare commencement of the University at Buffalo to be open.
I would ask that everybody please stand for our national anthem. We ask that all gentlemen remove their hats at this time. The national anthem will be sung by the Royal Pitches.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you. I would now like to introduce today's platform party. Beginning from left to right, Dr. Philip Glick, Chair of the University Faculty Senate, Professor of Surgery and Management. Dr. Michael Kane, Vice President for Health Sciences and Dean of the Jacobs School of Medicine and Biomedical Sciences. Dr. James O'Donnell, Dean of the School of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences. Dr. Tricia Lee Wilkins, our keynote speaker, Pharmacy Advisor and Health IT Specialist at the Office of the National Coordinator for Health IT, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Dr. Kathleen Bojay, Associate Dean for Academic Affairs. Dr. Jennifer Hess, Associate Dean for Admissions. Dr. Edward Benarchek, Chair at the Department of Pharmacy Practice. Dr. Joseph Balthazar, Associate Dean for Research, Department of Pharmaceutical Sciences, and Mr. Mark Smaralia, Associate Director, Thermo Fisher Scientific and Director of UB Alumni Association Board. It is now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Michael Kane, Vice President of Health Sciences and Dean of the Jacobs School of Medicine and Biomedical Sciences, University at Buffalo, to deliver greetings.
Thank you, Carl, and good afternoon to everybody. Welcome to this very, very special day. Our graduates behind me will soon receive their well-deserved degrees. All of you in the audience, parents, spouses, family members, and friends appropriately exude great pride and joy for their accomplishments. I also want to offer my thanks to all of the faculty and staff in the school, many of them represented here, who have, through their wisdom and through their guidance, prepared the class of 2016 so well. So thank you. Most of all, I want to congratulate the people behind me, the School of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences class of 2016. You have each acquired a substantial fund of knowledge. You have each achieved a level of excellence in the pursuit of the degree that you are soon about to receive, and your excellence has a price, and that price is future responsibility. You are all joining American medicine, a remarkable but not yet fully integrated healthcare team. Through continued education, new knowledge acquired through basic and clinical research, and a commitment to organized, thoughtful, and comprehensive healthcare reform, you will have a favorable impact on the public health in the future. We look forward to and frankly expect you, as UB alumni, to have leadership roles in this national and international process. We are problem solvers. We ask difficult questions that no one has thought of before, and we try to answer them with our discoveries, our ideas, and our contributions. Now it is up to you to take what you have learned and to share it for the greater public good. You are the reason we have such optimism for the future. We at the university and in the school are extremely proud of all that you have achieved as our students. We look forward to what you will now contribute as our alumni. Congratulations and best wishes for continued success.
It is now my pleasure to introduce Dr. James O'Donnell, Dean, School of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences, for his remarks.
Good afternoon. It really is a great day to be at the University at Buffalo. We have our graduates, their families and friends, and our faculty and staff, all here to celebrate the culmination of years of study and hard work. Each of our graduates have had their own unique journey, and each of them will have their own path to follow moving forward, whether they are beginning a new job or pursuing additional education and training. Regardless of what comes next, I'm confident that their education and experience position them well for the future. I'd like to thank each of our graduates for being part of the school. While today recognizes the education received, it also is important to acknowledge the many contributions. You have participated in research, mentored fellow students, and engaged in scientific and professional societies. Your contributions have made our school, UB, and the community better. Today, I have the honor of introducing our commencement speaker, who was in your place about 8 years ago today. Tricia Lee Wilkins received her Doctor of Pharmacy degree in 2008 from our school. She then earned a PhD in pharmaceutical systems and policy with a focus on health outcomes research from West Virginia University in 2013. Her training and experience make her rather unique. She is a pharmacist and health services researcher with expertise in clinical pharmacy, health information technology, and an understanding of how research can guide pharmacy practice and public health policy. She is currently pharmacy advisor and health IT specialist for the Office of the National Coordinator for Health Information Technology in the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services in Washington, D.C. Please join me in welcoming back one of our own, Dr. Tricia Lee Wilkins.
Thank you so much, Dr. O'Donnell. Good evening, students. Good evening, loved ones, friends, faculty members, deans, everyone that's here. What an honor and what a privilege to share this day, this special occasion, this celebration with you. Truly, this is quite the homecoming for me. To be honest, I probably should have made it back to Buffalo a lot sooner, but it's kind of busy in DC. But it's been great being back, spending since Thursday here, touring the new campus on South Campus. There's been so much change, and it's just been such a warm feeling for me, such a warm welcome to be here. And it's not just been a homecoming in the sense of having graduated from this university. It's a homecoming for me because I was born in Buffalo, but the story actually began quite farther before that. My parents, both from Jamaica, began their journey of higher education here at Buffalo. In the late 70s, my father attended University of Buffalo and graduated from this university, receiving his doctorate of history. And a few years after, my mother and my eldest sister at the time joined him. And it just reminds me of just the different challenges that my family went through in pursuing higher education, the courage it took for them to leave their homeland, to travel from the sunny island of Jamaica to a place of snow and ice, not knowing what was gonna come and what was gonna happen. And so before I address the graduates, I'd like us to pause and to really thank those of you who are here today, and even those who couldn't be here today, who I'm sure have been supportive of the graduates today. So would you please join me in thanking your guests who are here today? I'm sure that my parents are not the only ones who made sacrifices for my sisters and I to get an education here and to be successful. And I'm sure that many of you have invested much time, effort, and support for these graduates to be here. So thank you, thank you, thank you. To the graduates, that's you guys. 8 years ago, I sat in the same seat that you are, and I felt the same excitement, sense of accomplishment, relief, and even just joy in having made it through pharmacy school. But the past few days have confirmed something that I've been kind of suspicious about, and that is though everything seems to change, some things just remain the same. So like what? Well, the obvious big change for me is the new Kapoor Hall on South Campus. I can't tell you how blown away I was by touring the different facilities, looking at all the new things that we have, and just thinking of just how privileged you are to study and to learn in such a state-of-the-art facility. And it's just so wonderful to come home and see so much advancement taking place. And so all that change makes me feel so happy. No offense to my graduating class, but I don't think we were as active as this class here. While I've been here, I've heard stories of mission trips, service, the number of growing student organizations. It really warms my heart to see that though you all have been so busy studying and pursuing this dream of yours, you have not failed to take the time to really serve others and to reach out. So that is a change, and that is something that everyone here should know, just how active this particular class has been. But though all these changes I've seen, some things really have still remained the same. UB remains an institution of excellence powered by award-winning faculty and staff. The faculty are still just as supportive as when I was here as they are now. And I'll just pause just to say that Cindy Konovitz still has her motherly instincts, taking me under her wing. There are quite a few times that she checked in on me during my stay to ask me, "Trisha Lee, have you eaten?" Thank you, Cindy. I think about the faculty members who allowed me as an undergrad and pre-pharmacy student to hang around their labs, using their expensive equipment. Faculty members like Dr. Straubinger, and it's just a wonderful thing to see that that is continuing, to invest in curious minds, to allow students to explore their interests and to see and discover where their interests will take them. So yes, everything is about to change for you. For some of you, I'm sure you finally can take the strain off of long-distance relationships that you've been trying to juggle over the years. You can finally go out there and there'll be nobody looking over your work. You will be the final sign-off for those pharmacists who are graduating today. And yes, for those of you going out there to start working, you can finally start to make some real money. But what does this mean for the way we're going to practice in the next 5, 10, or 15 years? Everything in the practice of healthcare is changing. We heard mention of the delivery system reforms and the need to connect healthcare, to have team-based care, to ensure that information flows to the right places so that the right decisions can be made. But though a lot of things have changed, it's just interesting to look and to think about that we have the ability to cure illness. It's something the ancients would have sold their souls for. We can even cure diseases and we can alter the course of illness. We have a cure for hepatitis C. I don't know if you've seen the news. There's a 72-year-old woman in India who has given birth to her first child. We have 3D organ printing. Amazing, amazing advancements in technology. Precision medicine is on the horizon. We can decipher the genome and find ways to target care to individual patients' needs. But despite all these changes, there are some things that just remain the same. You see, there are these few words that still bring fear and concern to patients or to anyone. I'm sorry to inform you. Why is that? Why is it that despite how far we've come, the fact that we can live productive and full lives, even in the midst of chronic illness, why is it that we still are afraid or at least have these kind of anxiety when we hear those words? And that's because there's something very sacred about health, something holy about our well-being. And patients and people remain vulnerable. Patients and people still want to know that we empathize with them. They still want to know that they are people and that we care about what they're going through, that we sympathize with their plight, no matter how benign their circumstances may be, no matter how critical they are. Doesn't matter how fancy the technology is. We're still vulnerable. We still want to know that you hear. We still want to know that you can reach out and touch. And just like in the Gospel of Mark, the story of the woman who suffered for 12 years from a hemorrhagic disorder, any one of us would give any and everything we could to find a cure. And with that level of need, vulnerability, and desperation that so many experience when they themselves are ill or a loved one, or they unexpectedly become a caregiver for someone that's near and dear to them, we have a sacred trust to find those cures. We have a sacred trust to reach out our hand and to help someone through a difficult time. Everything has changed, but also as scientists, people depend on your innovation, your curiosity, and your diligence to search for cures. Because if you guys don't do it, who will? You have the training, you have the skills, you have the tools to look for answers and the ability to find these. You don't need me to tell you how awesome and amazing you are. You don't need me to tell you how bright your future is or that the sky is the limit. I don't have to say all that because it's pretty obvious. You're UB graduates, and only the best and brightest come out of Buffalo. But what I will tell you this evening, I'll remind you of that sacred trust. I'll remind you that every drug therapy problem that you resolve, every therapeutic level that you monitor, every counseling session, all the long hours in the lab, all the gaps in funding that you may experience, all the experiments that you may have to repeat again and again and again. Just know that through all those things, you are fulfilling the highest calling possible, and that is to make man whole. So congratulations, class of 2016. I want you to go out there and to make us all proud. Go out there and live out that sacred trust of making man whole in every patient that you see, in every question or hypothesis you ask, in every experiment that you run and those you might have to rerun. Continue your education. Some of us here are graduating from our undergraduate degrees, but you can continue to sharpen and deepen your skill set by pursuing and finding your passion for research. It doesn't have to end here. This is just the beginning. Years from now, hopefully sooner rather than later, we want to see you cross this stage with your master's and cross this stage again with your PhD and go join a lab or start your own lab and again, find those cures. Before I leave, I'd like to share some advice with you. And the first is, do not live a unidimensional life. And what do I mean by that? Sometimes as graduates, it's so easy for us to think about, wow, what are all the things that I put on pause to go through this degree program? And now that I'm done, what are all the things that I want to do, or places I want to go, or things I'd like to buy or purchase? It's the me, me, me mentality. What does this degree do for me? What does it do for me right now? I invite you to live lives in 2 and 3 dimensions. And what does that mean? Instead of having this kind of me-centric life, reach out. That's your 2nd dimension, and help someone around you. Your 3rd dimension is reaching up to a higher purpose, a higher faith, calling God even, and looking at your life and how this degree can drive you towards a greater purpose and a greater good. When I think about examples of individuals who were not unidimensional, the first person that comes to mind is Harriet Tubman. There's no way she'd be the new face of the $20 bill if once she was freed and found her freedom, she didn't turn back and look for others as a way to help others. And so living a life that is 2 and 3 dimensional demands that you think about who's coming behind you. Who is it that also has a research question? Who is it that also has a dream and desire to enter the healthcare system and be a healthcare provider? How can you help those individuals? How can you allow this degree, this accomplishment, propel you to better serve those around you in your community? Living a 3-dimensional life also involves thinking about those who will never see the inside of a hall like this. It's funny, just this week I was talking with someone, and we started talking about child brides in foreign countries, in Afghanistan and places like this. Children who have dreams and bright futures, but those are taken from them. And despite them being as bright as anyone else, they will not accomplish their dreams. You don't have to go across the ocean to find circumstances and examples of people who, for various reasons, aren't able to do the things and accomplish the things that you have. Right here in this country, there are people who will not graduate, who will not experience this, and will not have the type of futures that you have positioned to help others. And so living a 2 and 3-dimensional life also demands that we have respect for those who will not accomplish these things, and realize that degrees don't make us better than anyone. They are simply give us more responsibility to serve, more responsibility to do for others, and more responsibility to realize just how privileged we are to cross this stage and to hold the future positions that we will. The last thing I'd like to share with you is to be open. I know when I graduated, I had everything I wanted to do all mapped out, including who thought I was gonna marry. But all those things sometimes don't quite work out the way you expect. And so my advice to you is to be open. Be open to what life brings you, and be open to opportunities that approach you in ways that you don't expect. When I graduated from UB and then subsequently from West Virginia University, DC was nowhere on my radar. In fact, I wanted to go to Texas. I wanted to go to California. I wanted to go anywhere but the District of Columbia. And then this opportunity came knocking at Department of Health and Human Services, and it absolutely was not something that I was interested in. Don't tell my employer that, although they might see this video. But 2 weeks into this job at Department of Health and Human Services, someone approached me and said, "Aren't you a pharmacist, Trisha Lee?" "Yes." "I think you should go hang out with our chief medical office folks. They have some projects they're working on that could really use some pharmacy expertise." And so I was able to participate in our National Adverse Drug Event Action Plan, worked on several interagency work groups, and to use my skills and experiences to help advance some of the work that was going on at my agency. In time, we ended up sitting down with the chief medical officer and carving out this particular position. And it's just been an amazing opportunity that it didn't exist prior to. It was something that just kind of came my way, and I just feel so blessed to have been able to experience that. Again, something that I would not have otherwise have been able to do had I not have been open to an opportunity that didn't seem to quite be wrapped or packaged the way that I would have wanted it to. I've been blessed to be able to be an advocate for my profession, for our profession, been able to meet people that I otherwise would not have met, and to speak places that I otherwise would not have. And it's just been an amazing, amazing journey that I know is just beginning. And so I know that you're all very motivated individuals. You wouldn't be if you weren't here today. And so just be open to what life brings you. Sometimes you don't know where you'll find yourself. And the one thing I will say is that the skills that you have gained, the knowledge that you have, the skills that we have as pharmacists and as pharmaceutical scientists, they are absolutely transferable. You may find yourself working in a setting of care or practice that you did not anticipate, but do so proudly and do so realizing that you absolutely can make a difference in doing that. And so that is my last piece of advice, is to just be open. Don't think that your life has to take a particular cookie-cutter path, but allow things to happen and experiences to take you where they will. And so I'll just wrap up my remarks by saying congratulations, class of 2016. You all have worked extraordinarily hard, and I hope that after this ceremony, you go out with your friends and your family and your relatives and pretend like it's not cold and raining outside, turn up the heat in Buffalo, and have a great celebration the rest of this weekend. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Wilkins.